Hey, everybody, you're watching and listening to the We Are RIZIN Podcast. This is your host, Andrew Benjamin. I'm joined by my co-host, Jay Christian Gary, who is off in Foodland enjoying some delicious eats. And with us, we got returning guest, Enson Inoue Tsuyoshi Sudario, who'll be taking on who'll be taking on Kazushi Miyamoto at RIZIN 27. Gentlemen, I appreciate you taking your time out to talk to us again. Yoroshiku onegaishimasu. First question, Sudario-san, you have my apologies, Goldman aside, another pro wrestler. How do you feel that you're going to be another pro wrestler?
どう思いますか？
もう試合は決まったので、もうそこは頭切り替えて、本当目の前の試合に集中してます。
So he said, yeah, it's already decided and set. So he's set his mind focus on this fight and focus on fighting hard in this fight.
Mm-hmm. So I'm curious to know, did you know who Miyamoto-san was before the fight, before you got notified that you'd be fighting him?
試合組む前に宮本さん知ってますか？
全く知らないです。
No, he knew nothing about him. We never heard of him.
Okay. He has quite an interesting reputation. Mr. Inoue.
Yeah, what kind of reputation?
Oh, well, so you're as a former pro wrestler, you know, you've done some pro wrestling for New Japan. He has a reputation for shooting on other wrestlers during matches.
Oh, really?
Yes. There's I'll send you the video through social media. There's a video of him for a I guess independent promotion where he faces a wrestler called Crab King, and he rips off the guy's masks and starts kind of doing like what Akira Maeda did to Riki Chosu back in New Japan. Do you remember that?
評判はプロレスなのに真剣にやるいきなりそういう評判ある彼。ひどいよね。だからシュートプロレスも決まってるでしょ。でも本気でやる途中で。めっちゃひどい。Shit, that's like a big no-no in pro wrestling, man. That's like you get banned from pro wrestling.
And actually,
he shot on his opponent or took liberties. That's something you do not do in professional wrestling. And obviously, you should know that.
But usually if you do that in pro wrestling, you won't ever do another pro wrestling match.
Yeah, but he's managed to. In fact, actually, he had his first incident was for FMW, if you remember that promotion, Onita, Atsushi Onita's promotion in the 90s. I'm trying to remember the wrestler the wrestler that he shoots, hit with a chair another wrestler. I'm trying to remember the name of the wrestler's name. But like legitimately knocked him out with a chair to the head.
Was he just what did he just do it shitty or did he
No, I think he did it with intention to knock him out. He does that was the first incident, and when we get off social media, I'll send you on the wrestler's name was Gosaku.
Send me those videos of the ones that he did that.
I can't find the FMW one. I'll send you Christian as well. The one that he did for the promotion, the independent promotion. It's all over YouTube. I'll send it to you right after. But I just wanted to, in case.
But the thing is, though, when it comes down to Miyamoto, we know him from Zen Nihon Pure Wrestling, aka All Japan Pro Wrestling.
Yeah, it's actually interesting that Sudario, all the wrestler or people he's faced so far in a MMA ring have all been actually through All Japan. Dylan James.
All Japan.
Dylan James.
IGF. It was Dylan James and now Miyamoto that's been through Zen Nihon. All Japan.
Minowaman was Tiger Masku. Tiger Masku Yon when he was in All Japan. So everybody he's fought has wrestled in All Japan. That's very funny. I really find that like a unique fact that all the people that he's faced have been all Japan wrestlers.
Maybe Zen Nihon wants to beat Tsuyoshi.
Yes. And prove that they still have a little bit of King's throw left in them.
But yeah, I gotta just ask, in a way, I know that you want Sudario to grow as an MMA fighter, but do you think that these opponents that he's getting are almost hindering his progress as an MMA fighter just because they're not, except with the exception of Minowaman, so far 2 of them have not been pro MMA fighters?
なんか今俺に聞いたのはプレスばっかりで剛の伸びが邪魔してるのか。No, I don't think it is. It's I mean, we want I mean, even if he gets beaten up, man, I want him to fight someone, a real MMA fighter. When we got to fight, we kind of were really disappointed. We asked Sakakibara if he could find someone else, and he said, no, he can't. So it's either fight him or not fight, and Tsuyoshi wanted to fight, so we took it. And as far as hindering his progress, no, he's improving by the training session. So unfortunately, in the Dylan James fight and the Minowaman fight, he couldn't really show what he can do. So he's improving. These fights, you got to remember now, the preparation for the fight is like months. The improvement he's doing in that is not hindered by one day.
Well, I when I say hindered, but like, I mean, you obviously want him to get experience in the ring and to prepare him. You want every fight to be, I guess, tougher than the last. But when it keeps on being kind of these people who don't have, well, I shouldn't, with the exception of Minowaman, they aren't trained MMA fighters. It's almost, is it, you don't want him to have a padded record with people that are obviously that he's obviously higher levels in. Am I correct? As a coach, you'd want him to.
Also, it's a gamble because they're not supposed to be as good as him, So he has like a little disadvantage where he has nothing to gain. If he beats him, it's like, he beat another pro wrestler. If he has a hard time, it's like, he has a hard time with a pro wrestler. Yeah, it's unfortunate. So we're asking Sakakibara that this would be the last pro wrestler, and I kind of hope, I kind of want him to beat the fuck out of him. I want him to like make him, more like, hey, pro wrestlers, understand that fighting and pro wrestling is 2 different rings, and you need to respect the fighting ring. So that's the kind of feeling that we have going into this fight.
Well, it would
so destiny. I wouldn't mind seeing Tsuyoshi face off against more notable competitors, even though it's going to be hard because the world is still under lockdown because of the whole pandemic.
Yeah, that's another issue. Yeah, they couldn't bring, because of Corona, they couldn't bring in fighters. So
in terms of like heavyweights in Japan, I mean, you do have some people, like you have Hideki Shrek Sekine, Ryo Sakai, Mizoguchi. I'm trying to think of some other Last Samurai Mark Hunt, Shoba Shibasai. There's a few. Japan is not like as heavy. I guess
we're actually hoping for Shrek. Yeah.
Okay. Oh yeah, because he did win his last fight. He did look good in his last fight.
We did. We're hoping for Shrek, but I don't know. They want us to fight this guy, and then they're saying that they want him to fight in April 29th, like a month after.
Oh shit! So they kind of expect them to just finish Miyamoto pretty quickly, not even like get touched and like be ready again.
Probably, yeah. That's what they're probably thinking. Give him an easy fight, and then give him a real fighter the next one.
Oh, that would be great.
The thing about that is that what they need to understand is that preparation is the pain. The fight is nothing. The fight can be easy, but the training he has to do for the fight is incredibly hard. 今説明してるのは、試合がなんか今回プロレスラーで次は本当の MMA ファイターだけど、RIZINが理解してほしいのは、試合は簡単でも用意が大変だから。Yeah, so that's the problem that Sakakibara is not a fighter and he doesn't understand that. So he just did like circuit training yesterday, and we were sitting down, and he's like, "Holy fuck!" After this fight, he gets like 2 or 3 days off, and then he goes right back into hard training. It's like mentally and emotionally, can you deal with it? So what we're doing is the promotion wants him to fight in April 29, but we're gonna. After the fight, we're going to sit down, no injuries, see how he feels. he has to get back into training right after that. So if he needs to take a break, we're taking a break. So
if Sudario-san, if you don't mind me asking, how do you feel about that they want you to fight such a quick turnaround?
どう思いますか？また4月29日またすぐ上がる。
まあそれはまだ決定してないので、そう。
It's not set 100% yet.
とりあえずはもうまず3月21日のその宮本戦をまずこう全力でやりたいと思います。
So he said that it's not set. He's not thinking about that. He said, well, all that's on his mind is on the 21st, he fights Miyamoto, and he's going to give everything he got.
Mm-hmm. I was going to ask, it looks like, I've been watching your training videos on Instagram and other social media. Have you lost more kilos since the last time that we spoke?
締まってる、痩せてるんですか？
体重は、むしろ115キロで、大晦日よりもちょっと重たいんですけど。
He's actually since New Year's, he's gained 2 kilos, so about 5 pounds.
Oh, okay. Well, it looks like you were losing some of the, from my perspective, it looked like you were losing some of the bad fat. So maybe you put on muscle, yeah.
Yeah, I think we're doing a lot of power training because his Miyamoto's big, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Like for Minowa was really different, was more stamina and movement. But for Miyamoto, we're expecting a lot of power from him. So we're doing a lot of power stuff, and like his body composition has actually been changing.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. What are you seeing potentially future light heavyweight level of weight for Sudario?
今のところはそれは考えてないです。
He's not thinking about that right now. He wants to fight heavyweights. So
okay.
What is light heavyweight? What weight is that?
Whatever the equivalent of 205.
205 pounds. Either 195 pounds or 205. So like around 90 kilos to 93 kilos.
Yeah, 93 is too light. 93 is much too light.
Gotcha.
You would have to lose muscle, yeah. 絶対筋肉を落とさなくちゃいけない。それ落としてほしくない。
Or cut off an arm or a leg or something.
Yeah, no shit. That's a little too light.
I'm curious.
スティーペ・ミオシッチとかみたいに細いヘビー級でもやっぱり勝てる人がいるから、やっぱヘビー級で僕はやっていきたい。
Yeah, he said he wants to do heavyweights. I mean, no, Stipe is not a huge heavyweight. He's successful, so he's willing to fight as a smaller heavyweight.
Mm-hmm. Gotcha. Sudario, I'm curious to know as well. In a way, you mentioned, you kind of talked about it before. You know, with these pro wrestlers coming into MMA, as a man who's going to have soon to be 3 pro MMA fights, and so far you have finished all 2 of your fights right now. How do you feel about pro wrestlers getting into MMA?
もう3戦でプロレスは多いんで、プロレスは格闘技に上がるのどう思いますか？
そうですね。僕がプロレスやるって例えばなっても、やっぱしっかり1年間ぐらい練習してから、僕の場合はプロレスのリングに上がりたいと思ってるんですけど、なんですかね、すぐに上がる気持ちって僕は理解できない。
So he said that if he was going to do pro wrestling, he would practice pro wrestling for about a year and actually, become a pro wrestler before actually jumping into the ring. The fact that they can train for a couple months or 3 months and then want to fight in the fighting ring, he said that it's hard for him to understand the reasoning behind it.
Mm-hmm. I see. Do you think it's insulting at all? Do you consider it like an insult?
失礼っていうか、ちょっと軽い気持ちでいるのかなと思います。
He said he doesn't know if he thinks it's insulting, but I think it's more he doesn't. They're really not thinking it thoroughly through before actually making the decision.
And just so I know you've been doing more circuit training and all that stuff. How do you feel? Like, have you gotten into the regular? Do you feel you've gotten used to MMA training at this point, in going into your 3rd fight?
ハードなサーキットトレーニングとかいろいろ MMA トレーニングやってて、どうMMA トレーニングも慣れてますか？
もうだいぶ体にはこう染みついてきました。
Yeah, he said, his body's become accustomed to training MMA stuff.
Gotcha. Do you get tired? is your cardio like? Have you found that is it just like the pace that you're able to go at? Is it much faster now? Are you more used to it? Is your cardio improved? Can you just talk about like how you've improved since day one?
最初 MMA トレイン始まった頃から今までどういう、まあ、なんかスタミナ良くなった、動き良くなった、どう思いますか？
スタミナも動きも、あと考え方とか、そうですね。あと立ち技でもやっぱそのパンチの種類とか、その自分の攻撃だけじゃなくて相手の攻撃も意識しなくちゃいけないっていうそういういろんなところが変わってきます。
Yeah, he said he's got really aware on almost all levels, not just his stamina, his movement, the striking, and also the opponent, what kind of striking the opponent's going to do to him. He's become a lot more aware of a lot of stuff in MMA.
Gotcha. And so, I'm curious to know, who would you like to face next after you face Miyamoto, Sudario? Or who would you like?
Miyamoto の次で自分希望として誰とやりたい？
まあでもちゃんと MMA ファイターだったらまあ誰でもいいのいいですね。
He said if it's an MMA fighter, he doesn't care who it is.
Gotcha.
コロナで。
Understood, but still.
He said that the ideal perfect world, if Corona wasn't a problem, he'd like to fight a foreign fighter.
Gotcha.
Good point. But let's just say if nothing happens when it comes down to potentially facing off against other heavyweights or foreign fighters, like I asked before, would a fight between yourself and Shibata, Akitoshi Saito, be, available for you,
Shibata. Who's that?
The guy that just faced Hiroya at the most recent RIZIN.
Shibata とやるの話ありますか？
いや、例えばライジンにやってくれるかって聞かれたときに、まず柴田さんに聞きたいです。僕勝つとか負けじゃなくて、本当に僕は試合になったら殺しに行くけど、それでもいいんだったらやりますっていうふうに言います。
He said if RIZIN approaches him at the fight, he'll want to contact Shibata and find out if he's really into it. And if Shibata really wants to fight, it's not going to be a game or a fun. He's going to really go to kill him. And if he's okay with it, he'll fight him.
So I want to try something right now, Enson. So I actually do have that video of Miyamoto shooting on that wrestler. Let me see if I can screen share it to you guys. Can you see it? Can you see the video?
Yeah.
Yeah, I can see it.
Okay, so this is the video right here. I want to just get your live reaction as a former pro wrestler, what you think about this. Look, as he rips the guy's mask off.
I saw this.
I mean, this dude really is an asshole.
No, it looks like Purse to me. Purse me die.
Nice pile driver.
Well, watch what he does. Look what he starts doing now. He starts face stomping him on the back of the head.
It looks like worse.
Shit, this is probably worse than Yoshiko.
Let me see if I could get to the there's a part where he actually puts on a shoot rear naked choke on the guy. Let me see if I can find that part.
I think you might have to skip ahead, Andrew.
Yeah, let me see.
I don't know. Looks like pro wrestling to me, though, so far.
Well, but look, if you could look closely, look, his nose is bleeding right now. This wrestler got a broken nose from this. I'll show you those the after, what happened after as well. Yeah, look, if you look at his face, you can see.
Yeah, you can see the face. Obviously, when he ripped off the mask, if you know from Lucha Libre culture, that's a big no-no.
But I want to find where he actually puts the choke on him, because that was like, Hold on one second. Sorry, I was doing this on the fly, but you think that wasn't a shoot, Inoue-san?
Well, I've seen that. I've seen stuff happen like that in pro wrestling where it's an agreement between the other guy that it's okay to take off the mask, and like a broken nose like that. I've broken guys' noses in pro wrestling, and it's all like a mistake. Yeah, a lot of times it's a mistake, and then the pro wrestlers love it because if you had to do it on purpose, say, okay, he's going to break my nose, it's scary. But if it's a mistake, so a lot of this stuff is depending on the other guy, and depending on in pro wrestling they have that kohai senpai thing, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And if that guy was a kohai, they're willing. They got to take meetings.
Okay.
So
let me.
So as far as that, I don't know the understanding between the two pro wrestlers, but if I saw that video before, because that's pretty much one of the only videos they have of Miyamoto recently.
Okay. Yes, this is what the opponent looked like after the fight.
God. I mean, I'm telling you, that ass whooping was probably worse than the one Yoshiko gave at Yasukawa.
And this is what was written up about the match. I can't understand it, but I think it was something about Miyamoto saying that this other guy was disrespecting wrestling or something.
それひどくしたんだ。
死んでし、新しい。
あれ
二度とマスクかぶれないくらいボコボコにしたらしいです、顔を。
Okay. Okay, I know. Okay. So what that was, it was probably an inside thing, yeah?
Mm-hmm.
Because that guy they call it Shindeshi, it's a new student, like a new boy.
Mm.
So all the Zenihon, they all train together, yeah? So that guy is one of the guys that came into the pro wrestling as a new guy. So he's a new guy. And I think there was a problem with him wearing a mask where Miyamoto felt that he's not supposed to wear the mask.
Okay. Mm-hmm. My friend.
So he wanted to kind of teach him a lesson to be in line, stay in line. So this guy probably broke some rules.
Okay. My friend.
So basically, what you're trying to say was that ass kicking felt more like an initiation, correct?
Yeah, initiation and a hey, Bo, stay in line kind of thing. That happens. Sumo もそういうことになるよね。新しい人でちょっと良くないことやってハードにするね。Yeah, like it happens in pro wrestling too. I mean, sumo too, yeah. Like the new guys, if they don't follow the rules, they'll get some hard ass whipping in the training. I've done that. I've never done it in the ring because, as you know, we don't fight our own students. But if a student went and I saw him going too hard on a younger guy or a weaker guy, I'll jump in and just sparring and I'll beat the fuck out of him and show him what it feels like to be beaten. So it just pro wrestling, when they do that, it's in the ring, yeah, because they can actually wrestle each other.
My friend who's Japanese but doesn't speak a lot of good English. He said it's called Shopai wrestling. Shopai.
ダサいとか、しょっぱい試合とかっていうと、もうなんかダサい試合だった、つまらない試合だったっていうのはしょっぱい試合。
しょっぱい is like a real boring fight or a shitty fight.
Yeah. I'm trying to think. He says that Miyamoto would punish Shopai wrestler. And when I asked him what that means, like not well trained, sloppy wrestler. And that was apparently what the case of this was, that he thought this wrestler was very sloppy, so that's why he.
You know what? It's funny that you say that because when I saw that match, I was thinking, "Holy shit, that skinny fucking guy's a pro wrestler."
Oh, okay.
その試合見たらそれ思ったよ。何こいつプロレスラーか細くて体ない。
Well, listen, not everybody can look like Kensuke Sasaki or Toshiaki Kawada. Okay, wrestling.
Yeah, true.
Wrestling changed, has gone is much different than when you were doing pro wrestling, and as much as
you were in New Japan.
I noticed that.
Sorry, what was that?
I mean, basically, like you said, Andrew. Wrestling has changed since Enson was in New Japan all the way back, like almost 20 years ago.
Did that ever happen with you, though? When you were in New Japan, did you ever have to get...
Yeah. No, I got 新日本入った時にそういうことされてますかって聞かれてるよ。No, だからエンゼンもそういうことされた。No, they were super nice to me, man. I mean, like Nakata, Nakanishi, all the big boys, Chono, they were super nice. They were actually helpful because when I would have matches, they would come and give me tips. Like I remember Chono coming to me after a fight, a wrestling match, and telling me, Enson, you cannot hide your face so much. You got to show your face. That's the face. I remember him telling me the face is 90% of the show.
Oh,
like, when I felt pain, I would go down and put my face on the mat. Go, ah. He said, no, you got to go up to the crowd, which is really like not something you do. Yeah. So Chono, Nakata, they were super helpful, man. And I was a new kid, but I think I went training at their gym twice.
I'm
trying to once I taught MMA at their gym.
If this was around 2003, 2004, I'm trying to remember who probably was Iizuka was Takashi Iizuka one of the trainers in New Japan at this time? Because I know he was there for a long time. I know he's a trainer now, but I don't know if he was a trainer when Takashi Iizuka, was he?
Iizuka was a wrestler when I did.
Oh, okay. I'm trying to think of who.
I actually had a match with him.
Oh, you did? Oh, shit.
He was busted up, though. I think he had a bad neck, already.
Okay, gotcha. I'm trying to think who was the head trainer of the New Japan dojo at the time. Who was it? Was it Nakan? It wasn't Nakanishi.
When the days that I went to train, it was pretty much Nagata and Nakanishi guys running the training.
Oh, okay. Gotcha.
Oh, Manabu Nakanishi.
Yeah, Manabu and Nakanishi like that. And I was real close with them because they were coming to my purebred gym to train
MMA. What did you think about it when Nakanishi and Nagata had their respective MMA matches? What did you think when
Nagata's match with Milkra had nothing to do with it, so I don't know what that was about. But when Nakanishi fought the Sumire Bazaru, the Mongolian sumo guy, he trained and that kid was right. Nakanishi trained hard, man. He's an animal, man. You have to tell him. I have to tell him to stop training. Yeah, so Nakanishi is serious. He took it really serious and he trained hard, real respectful.
Gotcha. So we're going back to you, Sudario-san. So I just want to know, what did you think of that match that we showed of Miyamoto beating up the wrestler? I mean, what do you think about when you see something like that?
そういうこと見てどう思いますか？
宮本さんのこと。
今さっきのビデオ。
何も思わないですね。ただやっぱ格闘技になったら、なんかしてくる可能性もあるんで、気持ちが強いかもしれないし、だからもうそういう気持ちが強いとか、なんかしてくるっていうことを想定して、しっかり準備していきます。
So he said that when he saw the mat just now, he didn't think much, but all he knows that he's gonna keep in the back of the head that he might possibly do something, and he feels like Miyamoto, just from the press conference and everything, he feels like Miyamoto seems a real quiet samurai type, yeah. So we're expecting someone that's pretty tough. Like Dylan James acted, he talks shit, and but Miyamoto didn't talk shit at all. He just stood there silently, and that's usually the strong, silent type. So we're expecting someone really tough.
How would you ideally like to finish this fight? Because we've seen you, we've already seen you finish with strikes. We've seen you finish with a calf kick, the now popular calf kick in MMA that everybody's doing right now. Would you like to submit Miyamoto this time? Try to get a different type of finish?
最後の試合の終わらすことがどういうなんかもうカフキックで決まったし、ディレン・ジェームズでなんかグラウンドストライクで決まった。これがサミッション欲しいかどういう一番最高の決め方？
決め方は別に形にこだわらず相手の心と体をボコボコにしたい。
He said he doesn't care how he finishes it, but his being objective is to beat the guy up and break his will.
Actually, Inoue, I want to ask you about that. Inoue, I want to actually ask you about that because now we're seeing, since the Kyoji Kai fight, Poirier, McGregor, everybody's doing calf kicks now. But we saw Sudario kind of working on Minowaman's ankle, lower leg when he was in that fight, and eventually Minowaman couldn't even stand up. What do you think about that whole of how Sudario-san did in that fight, using that type of weapon?
Because the calf kick was something we practiced, but it wasn't directly practiced for Minowa. He even practiced the calf kick before for Dylan James. So he it was his own decision on when and what he wants to use. I supply him with the weapons, and he decides in the fight, what weapons to use. And before I even could think of calling out calf kick, he already actually did it on his own.
And so I'm just curious to know, how many more fights does he have in his RIZIN contract right now? I know he has a fight coming up, but is it like throughout the year or?
Right. Well, Andrew, I think Enson told me that she has a 2-year deal with RIZIN.
But でも試合じゃないよね。試合数はない。There's no stipulation on how much fights.
Okay, gotcha. I was gonna ask if we're seeing MMA fighters try other disciplines, kickboxing or grappling. Would you want to have him do like a grappling thing, maybe for like if they ever had like a heavyweight thing for quintet, or if Rise or some kickboxing organization said, hey, we want to use him for a kickboxing match, would you be okay with that?
将来では、まず目標は海外のやっぱ UFC とかっていうところ目標はあるんですけど、やっぱその MMA でやっぱまず MMA を成功させたいっていうのと強くなりたいっていうのと、その次の目標は一回ボクシングにちょっとチャレンジしてみたいっていうのは最終的にあります。
Yeah, so his feelings is he wants to solidify his MMA career first, and I feel the same way. That he fights MMA, and of course in the process of MMA, if I feel like his grappling's solid enough, and there's a grappling match, if there's a boxing match, I'd love to have him get all the experience. I mean, go out of his comfort zone and give it a go, So that's definitely in the works. If someone right now, I wouldn't put him into a grappling match, but in the future, for sure.
Mm-hmm. So my last question before I pass it off to you, Christian, when this whole pandemic is over, when the lockdown restrictions, whatever, are lifted, what do you want to do, Sudario-san? What's the first thing you will do?
いい質問。このコロナのいろんなね、隔離とかあるんじゃん。はい、それが全部終わったら一番最初何したい？
もう海外練習行きたい。
He wants to go train in the States.
Oh, great. Make sure you play so right now it's very cold on the East Coast. So if you need to go train in the West Coast, California or Hawaii or something.
Or you know what? I'm pretty sure that somebody here in my neck of the woods in the state of Texas would probably take you in.
Well, you're dealing with all that snow in Texas right now, Christian. So until the snow's gone.
Our weather is mediocre. It's in 1 minute, but it gets hot the next.
Yeah, so we're kind of looking at Las Vegas, yeah.
Oh, great! That's even better. That's even better. You got 1,000.
Like to get into Las Vegas, and then I wanna personally introduce him to Dana.
Oh, okay. Great. Yeah, well, you got 1,000 MMA schools there, and you got the UFC's HQ.
And of course, he's still he's a rising fighter. But I mean, it'd be nice to put Tsuyoshi in Dana's head, and have dinner with him, and he gets to meet and gets to know who Tsuyoshi is, yeah.
Mm-hmm. Actually, I'm curious to know. Sorry, Christian, I lied before I pass off to you. One of the things that we've seen throughout the UFC history is a lot of Japanese fighters have not been successful when they've come over to UFC. Of course, if Sudario ever comes to UFC, we hope he is successful. But why do you think a lot of Japanese fighters just never really became very successful in the UFC when they came over?
I don't know. It's weird. Yes, I don't know if it's a jinx or it's like Nori didn't do well. Even Horiguchi, he did well, and actually just couldn't beat Demetrius.
Mm-hmm.
But like a lot of the good fighters, like What's his name?
Okami was
Okami was never nobody in Japan, so I didn't expect him to do that well anyway.
Oh, okay.
But guys like Omigawa, and there was a bunch of guys that went over there. Even Hyoki. I mean, those guys are super good, and the fact that they didn't do well in the UFC was kind of surprising to me. I don't know if it's just the comfort of, the American events are run a little different. Language barrier, I think maybe they feel a little more uncomfortable, yeah.
Gomi was pretty successful up to a certain point.
For me, when it comes down to being a wrestling fan, it sucks even for me being a fan of Shiri Kondo, how she didn't do well inside the octagon.
Yeah, Gomi.
So it's probably, Tsuyoshi even thinks it's probably like a mental thing, and they're not able to, focus on what the fight itself instead of too much of the what's around it. Yeah?
I've also wondered that because a lot of them come over after they've had so many fights and wherever they were, Pancras, Shuto, maybe that they were just, I don't know, that the injuries or maybe just the miles were catching up with them by the time they already made it to UFC. So I wonder if that also just they couldn't.
試合がいっぱいやってて、怪我とかいろいろもあって、ついたね。まあ、that's a part of it, but I think it's more the unfamiliarity, yeah?
Gotcha. Christian, I'm sorry. Now I'm going to pass it off to you.
Okay. Well, the one question I want to ask is when it comes down to this next fight, I mean, we already got through what you want to do after the fight, but what do you hope fans will get the chance to see more of when it comes down to you fighting Kazushi Miyamoto at RIZIN 27, am I right? March 14th?
March 21st.
My bad.
Miyamoto,
yeah. What do you hope fans hope to see more of you when it comes down to this fight against Miyamoto?
まあ、本当に殺しに行くっていうこの姿勢、気持ち、姿勢と、あと、たとえ自分が悪い状況になっても、諦めないところ。
So he's saying that, of course, he wants to show that, that, how everyone is it's a big sport now. He wants to show that, that wanting to kill the guy in the ring, that ferocity. And he said that if he's on the shorter end of the stick, he wants to show his toughness. Yeah, and he wants that they want the fans to watch the fight as that anything can happen.
Right, of course. So desu ne. But as long as Tsuyoshi doesn't fall into that Mike Tyson effect like we discussed before, because you want to start off strong, but you want to be prepared for when you got to finish up strong. Am I right?
いや、なんか始まりと最後も強く続けてほしい。Yeah.
Sorry, Christian, do you have any more questions for our...
Nah, I'm good, man.
Okay.
Andrew, you can go ahead. But first of all, Enson, Tsuyoshi, again, how can we get in contact with y'all on social media, even though y'all answered this before?
He's on Twitter and Instagram as Sudario Tsuyoshi. And I'm on full Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter on Enson Inoue. So we don't have blue checks because they fucking won't give us blue checks.
Well, is it because why won't they give you blue checks? Have they given you a reason why? Have they just said like
Instagram あるでblue check 本人ですみたいな。俺が何でも登録しても全然断る。
なんでないんですか？
わかんない。Oh, I don't know. I've sent in the Instagram like 2 or 3 times already. They said they needed a picture of my passport or my my driver's license. I actually sent them both, one on my passport and one on my driver's license. And I haven't been verified. And so the last time I did it was a week ago, and they said I have to wait 30 days to verify again. So I don't know.
You know what? I think that's bullshit right there. To be honest with you,
I'll tell you this: there's no like clear rules on who gets a blue check mark. You'd be surprised that there's people who have like 1,000 followers who shouldn't have blue check marks who get blue check marks, and then there's people who have 10,000 followers that can't get a blue check mark for whatever fucking reason.
I think I got 21,000 followers now and still no check mark.
Is that Twitter or is that Instagram that we're talking about?
Instagram. I tried Twitter too. They didn't verify me either. So I don't know how to do it. I'm just gonna continually try and register.
Okay, great.
I
And
mean, to be honest, who really cares about getting a blue check mark? As long as
I'm
you
not losing any
recognize
sleep
the
over it.
respect to the long that's all that matters.
I'm not losing sleep over it, man.
And before you go, Sudario, I just want to get any last minute, any last second comments or statements that you have about your fight coming up with Miyamoto. If you want to say anything to him, floor is yours.
彼にとかファンにとか。
ああ。そうですね。難しい。もう本当覚悟を持って試合に挑むので、それを、見てください。イノファンに言いたいです。
So he wants to the fans to just watch and be open-minded and watch the fight and enjoy.
Actually, sorry. One quick question before we go: is there any special rules for this match? Are they not allowing like elbows or soccer kicks or anything like that?
No, the rule is elbows okay. Grounded opponent, you can knee, you can face stomp, you can soccer ball kick. Perfect rules.
Oh, great. Yes, perfect rules as always.
The superior rules.
Yes.
Number one.
Pride rules. Old school pride rules.
French chef's kiss, but yes.
Yep, exactly.
Sudario-san, Inoue-san, we do appreciate you talking to us. And RIZIN 27 will be at the Nippon. What's the Nippon Gaishi Hall? March 21st.
Nippon Gaishi Hall in Nagoya, Aichi, Japan.
And
March 21st. There's no announcement on if the show will be shown in English on Live Live. That website is called livelive.net. But still, you can watch it on RIZIN Live in Japanese if you're willing to pay $50 US.
But again, we appreciate you talking to us, from your busy training schedule. And we're looking forward to you continuing to see how you just progress in your MMA career. And
progress.
Inoue-san, thank you for the pro wrestling stories as well about Chono. That was a very interesting tidbit about the face. I'm gonna remember that.
Right on, man. No problem.